What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to talk about all the tech essentials that I use in my business for my properties. These are things that have grown over time from mistakes I've made and things that I just find useful and I think you'll find useful too. And if you're new here, my name is Jalil. I'm a licensed real estate agent and a real estate investor in the state of New York. So tune in if you like tech. All right, we're going to start with probably what's the most important piece of tech that you could purchase for your home. This has to be the most valuable and an absolute necessity, and that is your cameras. Now, cameras are super important, not just for your personal home, but if you operate a business and you have a multifamily, or maybe you have an Airbnb where you have a ton of guests just coming in and out, you want the cameras to not only protect your home, but to protect your guests as well. Cameras could do things such as, I've seen them capture fights, people stealing mail, people stealing packages, you name it, I've probably caught it on camera. So it's important to have it outside the home and in your common areas as well only though. Cameras are not only important for your personal home, but they're important for your business as well. If you run an Airbnb and you have multiple guests coming in and out, it's important to have cameras on the outside of the property and in the common areas, not just to protect your home, but to protect your guests as well. And if you're a parent and you want to make sure that your child has gotten home safely, it's important to have cameras to give you peace of mind, to make sure that they're home safe while you're at work, or to make sure that they're not sneaking out while you're asleep. Now, the cameras that I'm using are the Arlo cameras. I've been using them since roughly 2018, and I like them because at the time the tech was ahead and the app was very user-friendly. Now there's a lot of options such as Ring and Nest. Now, Arlo does have its drawbacks such as missing footage, and sometimes it doesn't load properly. But I haven't found a decent replacement for it as of yet. It does have a ton of pros as well though. The battery life is really good, especially if you don't have an outlet nearby, or they have the option for solar panels, and if you want to put an outlet, it gives you a longer recording time when the Arlo camera is actually plugged in. So whichever brand you go with, I suggest having security cameras around the property. Now, as far as the battery life lasts pretty good considering the amount of traffic that this unit gets. I rarely have to change the battery on the Arlo cameras that aren't plugged into an outlet. And once you have cameras, it's pretty difficult to go back to operating without any cameras. Now, for my plan, I pay for the monthly plan that gives you 30 days, but they also have a free option that gives you a week of footage in case you didn't want to pay for it. Overall, Arlo gets the job done, but I am open to trying other options. Either way, cameras are a must. Now, staying on the topic of safety, we are going to move on to the next piece of tech that has made my life so much easier and saved me a ton of time, and that is the smart lock. For my smart lock, I'm rolling with the Slage or Slage Encode Smart Wi-Fi Deadbolt. They have a plus version. The main difference in the plus version versus what I have is that I've seen it has, I believe, the Apple Home Key, which I don't really need, but this version is good enough for just your basic necessities. All right, now some of the reasons that I like this lock is because the app is super user-friendly and you can do things such as lock it from wherever you are on the go, straight from your phone. This type of lock is also useful when you have a business such as the Airbnb because you don't have to use keys. So people lose keys all the time, and when you have that many guests, you probably want to minimize the use of keys in general and just make getting access to the unit a whole lot easier. So I have the ability to give everyone their own code, whether that's the guest that's coming in, the cleaner, the contractor, it doesn't matter. They all have their own individual code that they can use to access the Airbnb whenever they need to. Not only that, but the codes could be temporary or permanent, meaning if you have a guest staying for 1 week, you can put that time slot inside that guest profile, and after that week, the code will no longer be working. All right, another reason I like it is because of all the safety features it has. For example, it has an auto lock feature, meaning after 15 seconds, the door will automatically lock without you doing anything at all. So if a guest walk out without just locking the door, there you go. Now, one of the common questions I get regarding this smart lock is about batteries. Now, this smart lock uses, I believe, four AA batteries. And I'll tell you right now, the battery percentage is, I think, 20%, and I haven't changed it in months. Now, that's considering that I've had guests coming inside and out constantly. So 20%, and I haven't changed it since, I believe, almost March, and we are in October now. That's a long time. We have a ton of traffic coming in and out. It also has a key feature on the front door. So in the event that the battery does die, there is still a key for you to get inside and then change the battery. So I definitely recommend this lock. There are so many features. This lock may actually require its own video. We already talked about the auto lock feature, but it also has schedule locking, which means it could be set to lock at a certain time every single day. It also has a sensitivity feature where it can set an alarm depending on the footsteps outside of the door. There's so many things that you can do with this lock, and I highly recommend it on your tech essentials list for your home. All right, now moving on from safety, we are gonna talk about convenience next when it comes to these next tech essentials. And the next one that I got coming up is no slouch. It plays no games, and that is the GE 2-in-1 washer and dryer. Now this washer and dryer has a ton of features, but the main thing that I like the most about it is something that you can't even see. It's the fact that it's actually ventless. Most washer and dryers have to be vented outside the home. This one does not. And the second thing that I like about it most is probably the most obvious, is the fact that it's a washer and dryer in one. There's no transferring loads. Once you load it and wash it, as soon as that cycle is complete, it'll start drying it immediately afterwards. I mean, you can't beat that. Not only does it save space, but you don't have to take it out of one machine to put it in another machine, and you save time as well. All right, last but not least, another feature that I think a lot of people may find useful is the fact that you can use it from your phone. You can actually do a pre-wash or set to wash it on the go. Meaning you can load your things inside the washer and dryer, decide that you're not ready to start it yet, go out, run some errands, and then start it. Now, this feature is kind of hit and miss because technically you still have to load it inside the washer, which means you have the opportunity to start it right then and there. But for whatever reason, if you decided that you didn't want to start it at that time, you wanted to leave and then start it from your phone, you can do that as well. So these three features, it just makes it a lot useful. It makes my life a lot easier when it comes to running an Airbnb and just operating out the home in general. All right, some other small features that I did not mention besides those three are things such as the fact that you can preload the detergent. So for me, this is useful because if I have guests that are coming to stay inside the Airbnb, I usually don't want to leave this much detergent out because people don't use discretion, but I can preload it with a good amount of detergent, and it can sense how many loads there are and operate accordingly. Also, it has a feature where you can lock it. So if you have children around that maybe like to play with buttons, you can lock this from your phone. That way they can't start the washer and dryer. So there's a ton of useful features on this washer and dryer. I will say though, maintaining it, I guess because the tech is kind of new when it comes to 2-in-1, is probably the most difficult part. You have to change the filter constantly because once again, there is no vent. So be mindful of that so that this operates and lasts a long time because they are not cheap. But the GE 2-in-1 washer is an essential tech piece of equipment for your home. We're going to stay on the topic of convenience, and the next on the list is the smart Wi-Fi AC. Now, you never know what you have until you do not have it. The ability to control the temperature of your AC from your phone cannot be overlooked. Having a smart Wi-Fi AC means you don't have to choose between your wallet and being comfy. Now, you don't have to keep your AC on all day just because you want it to be cool when you get back home from work. You can then turn on your AC maybe an hour, 30 minutes before you get home so that it starts cooling the entire apartment before you get home just because you have a Wi-Fi AC. This is just unmatched. In the States, it gets pretty hot during the summer months, and if you don't have central air, an AC is your next best option. So I recommend a Wi-Fi AC to help you out. Now, for the AC that I use, it is the LG Wi-Fi AC unit, which has a very friendly user interface. One of the reasons that I really like a smart Wi-Fi AC is because prior to this, I used to have a really expensive bill, but now you can control it to turn it off when you're not using it. And it also has modes such as like eco mode, where it'll automatically save power for you and power off if it reaches the desired temperature. And even if you don't use those features such as, locking the AC or scheduling when to turn on and turn off, it has the ability to watch and manage the filter consumption from the app. So even if you don't use the Wi-Fi and smart capabilities, you can then manage the health of your AC just by checking on your phone. So I definitely recommend getting a Wi-Fi AC. There's a ton of brands out there. The one that I use in my Airbnb is the LG, but they all pretty much do the same thing. Now this next piece of tech is super reliable and it's so subtle, but the feedback has been absolutely amazing, especially in the wintertime, and that is the bathroom heated lamp. Now, obviously you can't feel heat on camera, but the heated lamp is so useful in the wintertime, and it's a lot of a cheaper option to have it built in versus heated floors. I believe this lamp cost maybe 50 to 100 bucks. It wasn't that expensive, but anyone that has used it during those months absolutely loved it. There are some downsides to this. I can't necessarily control the temperature, so it can get a little bit too hot depending on what month it is. You do not want to use this in the summertime. But the benefit is I can actually just control it from a switch on and off really easily. Another drawback I would say is that it could get a bit loud. But if you're in a small bathroom or New York bathroom, and you don't want it to get too cold, I definitely recommend a heating lamp. I'd rather have it than not have it. So that's the next on the list, the heating lamp. Now, last but not least is one of the most important pieces of tech, but it's not exactly tech, and that is the self-closing hinges. Do you remember earlier when I was talking about the smart lock and I mentioned the fact that it has the auto lock delay feature? Well, this is the combo, right? Because typically doors don't just automatically swing closed. These hinges allow the door to swing closed. So if you have that auto lock feature set for 15, 30 seconds a minute, now because of these hinges, the door will automatically close no matter what. And the smart lock feature will go off, the auto lock feature that is. This is super important for if you have the smart lock and you have kids, people forget to lock the door, they're running out. Regardless of where you have it, how close the door is, it'll always slam shut and the smart lock will go off, locking the door, you'll always be safe. All right, so these hinges come in multiple colors. I have the silver, but they also have matte black and gold. And the reason I like them is because they're inexpensive and they're easy to operate. So they're operated by a pin. So not only can you have the luxury of your door locking automatically, especially if you have a smart lock combo, but you also have safety. So in the event of a fire and you're running out and you want to keep the fire contained, this does it for you. No matter what, when you walk outside that door, you don't have to worry about your door being locked. Now, you know I couldn't let you leave without a bonus one, right? This bonus tech isn't exactly tech as well, but it's super helpful and it's a lot more affordable than everything else I've been naming, and that is a storeroom lock. Now, the great thing about the storeroom lock is there is no lock on the outside. No matter what you do, this would automatically lock every time you pull the door in. Same thing. So now if you have the combination of a storeroom lock and these hinges, you don't have to worry about your door being locked, and it's a lot cheaper than getting a smart lock. So if you don't want to spend $200 on a smart lock, you can buy a storeroom lock, which is going to run you about 30 to 40 bucks with the hinges. That way the door will swing closed and it would automatically lock every time. But I highly suggest that you don't forget your keys, because no matter what, it's going to be locked. And those are all my tech essentials that I personally use in all my properties, whether that's security cameras, washers and dryers, heating lamps, or smart locks. I highly recommend you get these for your home as well. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if there's something else that you use that I did not mention that you find useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.